Stargirl, ladies and gentlemen, episode 11. Two more episodes to go, and this one is entitled The Haunting. And it's your boy Icon with a little DC TV back, baby. This review is going to be special. Because, I have so many things. Oh, man. A lot happened here. It's hard to, review this the way it needs to be reviewed because questions need to be answered. Right out the gate, we ended up getting the backstory about what really happened to Jordan. The theories about the Ultra Humanite, creating him or bringing him back to life or him being a zombie or whatever theories, magical mumbo jumbo or scientific foolishness that we all came up with, it turned out to be none of that because it simply was just a matter of after Mike ran him over in the season 1 finale, they left the ice cubes just laying on the floor. No one swept up the ice cubes. The ice cubes melted. Jordan McKent turned into water because he melted. And then when he turned into liquid, the liquid brought itself back together. He trickled down into the sewers. Then he basically reformed himself. And when we found that out, I paused and I was like, well, damn, that actually makes sense. Because he's water, so he could just bring himself back together. And I'm like, ugh. It's like, I wasn't mad at that because it wasn't like, oh, I'm disappointed because the way you brought him back was silly. I was like, well, shit, that actually makes perfect sense. So he comes back. He's a little discombobulated. And he tried to say, because he went home, he saw his son, he saw his parents. And when he went home, he basically tried to tell them, he said that when he had reformed himself, not only does he have the power to control ice, but he can create ice, like he is ice. Regarding, I guess, Artemis's parents, he said that was an accident because he was like, they came downstairs and they attacked me and I was defending myself. And then he said that and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, I was like, wait a minute, they didn't attack him. But he said that he was discombobulated when he first formed himself back together. And it took him a while to get his bearings. But he's like, what happened was unfortunate. And then he said that, Courtney and her friends, they were just doing the right thing or what they thought was right. And I don't hate them. I forgive them. And then that's when Cameron was just like, Dad, he's like, Courtney said she killed you. And then Jordan was just like, no, it was her brother. And I'm like, shit. Cameron's coming after Mike in the season finale. Yeah. Now that Jordan didn't spill the beans. So, he's just like, he's like, I want peace and I want to work things out with them and we got to talk to them. We got to bring everybody together. Jordan goes back to his old job and everybody welcomed him back like a returning war hero. And then Barbara had came in, and then she saw him and she was shocked because right before then she had just got the call that the Crocs died. Because Courtney, Yolanda, Beth, and Artemis, they went down into the sewers to investigate. And when they investigated, Beth had found the remains of both of her parents. Artemis, clearly she was upset. She was visibly upset. And she bust out crying and they had to console her. They told Pat, they told Barbara. And then when Barbara was mourning the loss of her friend Tigress, then that's when she found out that Jordan McKent was back. And then she took him in the room. And then she's like, I saw you die, you son of a bitch. And then, he was just like, yeah. But he was like, but I'm back and I'm here for peace. And then, Barbara was just like, you're a monster. And he was like, but I want a chance to prove myself. And then he did all this talking. And he was just like, just talk to Courtney and your friends, and everybody. And just let them know that I'm here for peace and this, that, and the third. Cameron then, he goes to Courtney's house and he's just like, yeah, my dad's back. And he just said he wants peace and everything. And then Courtney was like, no, because your dad's a piece of shit and he's a murderer. And then that's when Cameron got upset and he was just like, oh, but what about the Crocs? And what about Cindy Berman? He was like, what about the Shade? Like, how dare you mention the Shade? What about the Shade? He's like, they all got a second chance. Why does my dad not get a second chance? And I'm like, because here's the difference. Because it got brought up later on too, because Courtney then ended up having a conversation with Jordan McKent. And Jordan McKent even said he was just like, oh, you gave the Shade, the Crocs, and Cindy Berman a second chance, and I'm looking for the Gambler. He's like, I'm looking for a second chance. And for the love of God, yes, Cindy got a second chance because although she tried to actively kill the new JSA, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cindy didn't actually murder anybody. I don't remember Cindy legitimately killing anybody. I remember her doing a lot of dumb shit. I remember her having the intent to kill people, but I do not remember Cindy actually taking someone's life. And because Cindy never actually took someone's life, there was a moment, there is an opportunity there for her to have redemption and for her to be saved. Regarding the Shade, I mean, it's the Shade, because if you're going to bring him to jail, good luck. So they were just happy that the Shade even wanted to reform, because there was no way they could actually enforce the Shade going to prison. The Gambler basically, like, he repented for all of his stuff. He gave money to charity. He gave everybody, like, their money back and everything. He went around and shook hands and kissed babies and made apologies. The Croc family legitimately reformed. And then as far as, like, oh, accountability, they didn't take accountability. What about their second chance? The Crocs actually went to jail. Like, the Crocs legitimately went to prison. So they actually did pay for their crime, because they were locked up. They were locked up away from their child, and due to a technicality that still never got explained, the Crocs got let out of prison, but that's not their fault. It's not the Crocs' fault that clerical errors allowed them to get out of prison. They were in jail doing their time and paying for the crimes that they did. And to their credit, when they technically got released from prison, they ended up doing good, and they turned their lives around to show that they were truly trying to reform, and it wasn't just them blowing smoke up everybody's ass. Jordan killed somebody like 6 hours ago. I'm like, bro, you don't, he was just like, why does everybody get redemption except me? I'm like, bro, you legit just killed somebody like yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't come back from that. Like, there's no coming back from that. And then even then, like, Jordan was just like, oh, he wants to protect his dad, and you can't, and it's like, although I understand you wanting to protect your dad, you can't protect your dad from Artemis, because for you, as upset as Jordan was when his dad died and he was like, I'm going to get revenge or murder, or whoever killed my father. So Artemis basically now has that same right, because your dad killed her dad. So when Artemis shows up knocking on the door looking to knock somebody's head off with a baseball bat, Cameron can't come up and try to defend his dad and be like, oh, my dad's a good man. I'm just like, no. No, don't do that. And thank God for Barbara, too, because there was a scene where Artemis was in her house, and then she was crying because she's the only one left. And then she was on the floor, like, in tears. There was nobody around, nobody to console her, no friends, no nothing, but good old Barbara. Barbara strolled in, and then she was just like, come back to the house, honey, because you can't be alone right now. And I was just like, thank God, Barbara, but who else is living in this house? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Jess and King, like, you pointed that out. Like, you pointed that out before. Like, you got Starman living in the basement, Yolanda living in Courtney's room. Like, where Artemis gonna sleep? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got the damn dog. The Whitmore household has officially now become the headquarters of the JSA, and I don't know where Artemis is going to sleep. Like, there's no room left on the couch. But she brought Artemis back to the crib, so we doing that. And then, like I said, like, Courtney, she confronted Icicle, and then that's when Starman decided to go back to his douchebaggery, because when he found out that Icicle was alive, he was just like, I'm going to his house and I'm gonna kick his ass. And then to Pat's credit, he was just like, look, he said, I understand that you want to kick his ass, but we have to do this the right way, because he's a public figure. People know him. If you just go around and you just like beat his ass in public and chop his head off, they're going to blame you, and they're going to come after the rest of us. He was like, he didn't say not to go after him. He was just like, we just can't, we can't be, reckless about it. We got to be smart. And then he was just like, no, I'm going after him, and I don't give a damn who doesn't like the plan. And I'm like, here we go. Before the season is over, the JSA is actually going to have a battle with Starman, because he's a loose cannon, and somebody needs to, like, I don't want to say put him down, but somebody needs to, like, seriously, like, bring him down a notch, because he's just losing his shit. Because it's like, nobody said no. Like, nobody said let's not, because everybody agreed, like, he was up to something. Everybody agreed. I mean, Courtney, after a while, she was just kind of like, well, maybe he does want peace, but everybody else was just like, no, they said, of course he's planning something, but we just can't walk in his front door and beat his ass, because then we'll get arrested for trespassing. Sylvester getting on my nerves. So, like, this loose cannon shit is actually, like, it's legitimately getting on my nerves, and somebody need to do something about him immediately. But anyway, so that's the plan now. Like, he's going to go kick Jordan McKen's ass. Everybody else is going to try to stop him. Artemis, Lord knows, like, I don't know what's going on with that girl. Rick wasn't in the damn episode. Like, Beth's parents weren't in the episode. Beth was barely in the episode. Yolanda called her mama. You know what I'm saying? Just to tell her mom, I did it all for you, mama. So, like, I don't know. But it was a very short episode. Like, it was a quick episode, but it gave us a lot, because finally in the end scene, after all the conversation about wanting peace and teaming up and working together, Jordan McKen ended up going to the woods, and he had a conversation with the Ultra Humanite, because they said 50 million times in this episode that Jordan McKen and the Ultra Humanite are sworn enemies, and now the two of them met up in the woods, shook hands, and it was like business as usual. And he was just like, like, it's time for the plan. So the two of them are actually in cahoots. Jordan McKen is full of shit. He's probably going to die again. Courtney, Courtney's going to look stupid. I guess Sylvester was right all along, but it's going to be this whole big thing. But I am looking forward to it, because we do have 2 more episodes left, and thank you for tuning in. So in the next episode, Starman and Stargirl are basically going to battle over the staff, and then the winner, which we saw the winner if you saw the coming attractions, the winner will then go after Icicle to exact his revenge. I guarantee Cameron's going to try to interfere to save his daddy, and then that's when Artemis is going to show up, and Artemis and Cameron are going to have a fight, and that's going to be some cool ass shit. Jenny and her brother will pop up in the season finale to stop the Ultrahumanite, so I'm looking forward to that because, like Jess said, we spending all this money on this damn gorilla, so we ain't had no money in the budget for Jenny, we ain't had no money in the budget for Stripesy, but they all coming back because 2 more episodes to go, and then we will get the return of the Shade. So leave your questions, comments, and concerns down below. What did you think of episode 11 of Stargirl, The Haunting? What do you think? Where do you think this is going to go? Are we leading up to something good? Because Cindy Berman was also in the episode. She's teaming up with Jakeem and Mike, and how will it all come together? What's going on with the gambler's daughter? Like, is that still a thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was supposed to be a thing. What happened with that? And we will continue to talk about it. Check me out on Instagram and on Twitter. Always on YouTube. Check out my Wakanda Forever video, because I did the review for Black Panther 2. We got Titans on the channel, and I'm also doing Warrior Nun for all you Warrior Nun fans for Netflix. So until next time, guys, well, until the 30th, because Stargirl doesn't come back until November 30th, we get about a 2-week break, but when Stargirl does return, we will review it as we make our way to the season or series finale, hope it's the season, and we will conclude the Stargirl journey. So until then, until next time, keep hope alive, watch out for the haunting, give your parents a hug, because we're out this bitch!